Most people don't realize this, but there are 3 simple mistakes that can actually break a robot vacuum cleaner. Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad, and in today's video, I'm going to show you 3 things you should never do to a robot vacuum cleaner. Now, stick around till the end. I'm going to show you a little bit of bonus footage, but number 1 is, if you don't, here's the robot vacuum cleaner, and this applies for Mova, Dreame, Roborock, Ecovacs, Eufy, all the top major brands. Robot vacuum cleaners vacuum your home. They have a dust bin. The dust bin's going to fill up and then it's going to come back to the base station, auto empty into a dust bag. Now, you may have a robot vacuum cleaner that you have to empty out yourself. This applies for both those types. So, number 1 thing is, if you don't properly clean your dust bin filter. This filter inside the dust bin needs to be cleaned about every 2 weeks. A lot of times in the app, it says, oh, every 150 hours. Well, that's like every month and a half or so, or every 2 or 3 months. That's when you replace it. But most robot manufacturers, the ones that I highly recommend at justadadapproved.com, have reusable filters. Now, you can wash this in the sink. You have to let it dry in the sun or put it over a heat register. This is the number 1 thing I tell people to buy extra of. Buy an extra dustbin filter. That way, you can just put a new filter in, put the dustbin back in, and you don't miss a beat. Then you can clean this on your own time. But this is the number 1 thing people, and I haven't seen it actually break a robot vacuum cleaner, but it is the number 1 thing that robot vacuum cleaners just stop working. When I say stop working, they just stop vacuuming. If this robot airflow can't go through this filter, which they clog up, and they're typically kind of smaller, but they just clog up really, really fast. Because the robot vacuum cleaners that I recommend actually do a really good job of vacuuming, so this filter is going to fill up rather quick. So the number 1 thing is clean these filters about every, 2 weeks is what I do. Now, honestly, it's probably about every month. If I was really on top of things, I would do it every 2 weeks. I have my robots cleaning my home on a schedule about twice a week. So number 1 thing, this can really damage your robot, is not cleaning that filter. Now, number 2, hair wrap around the brush roller. So robot vacuum cleaners have all kinds of types of brush rollers. I'm going to show you some of the most common ones. The more advanced models are starting to come out with brush rollers to help prevent this. But most of your older ones and most of your budget ones, we're going to take a look here. This is the brush roller. Now, you may not see hair wrap right away, like this one. And I'm going to show you, they're designed, when they're a single piece, the hair is designed to go to the ends and it starts wrapping around. And this is kind of, it's good and bad because this is kind of also the pivot joint. So if it gets too big, you're going to look and say, well, I don't have any hair wrap, because the obvious hair wrap is when it's right here on the brush roller and you can just cut it off. But the less obvious and how they're designed is right here. So we take this end off. Okay, that's designed to come off. This is the Mova P10 Pro. This is actually the Gen 2. And there is the hair. Now, it's designed to do this. There's a little cavity in there. So there's the big hairball. This one has vacuumed my house for about 2.5 months and I haven't done it. And there's going to be on both sides. Again, I have seen this where it starts impacting the motor. I haven't seen it break the robot, but if I definitely let it go on too long, I definitely see where it could break the robot. So number 2 is brush roller. Now again, I said they come in all shapes and designs. I'm going to show you. This is the most common for Mova and Dreame. Here we've got an older Roborock, which they kind of stole the design from Roomba, the dual brush roller. This was a good design for its time. It's not the most latest and greatest because of hairbrush wrap. So what you're going to see, and again, the Roomba is the same way. These are designed. You may not see the obvious hair wrap, okay? Because you flip the robot over, oh, it looks like it's doing fine. But again, these are kind of fluted and the hairs should go down to the ends and wrap around these ends. I do have some right here, okay? This one, they are a little more impacted and I might have to actually cut those off. But this is all by design. You can see this one has a few more. These are designed to come off and cut that off. So again, the obvious one would be seeing it there. And again, the iRobot Roomba does the same thing. Now we do have some, they have tried to improve this. Here we have the Mova V50, and it's got a split brush dual roller design, which the end floats. So there's only one pivot end, and the other end, the hair's not going to wrap around and it's going to get sucked in there. This actually does a really good job. Now, if you have 3 huskies at home, it's not going to be able to handle huskies, but if you do have a lot of pets at home, I do have a procedure written on my website, justadadapproved.com. If your dustbin is not emptying like it should, I have a written procedure to help you put it on different schedules and to help get that dustbin to empty a little bit more often. Again, that's at justadadapproved.com. And Roborock also has, by the way, the Mova V50 was my 2025 pick, best robot money can buy. The Mova P10 Pro was my 2025 pick, just best overall. It's $400 right now. That's just a sweet spot to get into robot vacuum cleaners. Roborock has come out with they've also come out with, this is their new design that is going to help with avoiding this brush roller hair tangle. And it actually does a really good job. It's called the split brush dual roller. Unfortunately, you only find it on some of the more expensive ones. I think the Roborock Q-Revo S5E is the cheapest one you start to find this one on, and it's usually around 550 bucks. But this works really well, and you don't have those problems with hair wrap. But there's a lot of robot vacuum cleaners out there that we do have to keep an eye on the actual hair wrap. Now, with that being said, also, the side brushes. These, it is a good idea to take these off. You'll find hair underneath the side brush, and you'll find hair kind of wrapped around here. Now, most of the time you can extend this. On some of the Roborocks, you can pull this out. Make sure there's no hair wrap in there also. Okay, now the third one is your base station filter. So down here, you have a clean water tank, and the clean water is going to put water down here, wash the mop pads. Then it has to be able to suck the water up into the dirty water tank. There's all kinds of different designs, but most of them have a filter of some sort. And this filter, if you have pets especially, that filter is going to get clogged with hair. And what I have found is then it doesn't start sucking all the water out. You may even start to get some water overflowing. But cleaning this is very important. I like to do that about every 2 months. I like some Roborock. This is the Curve 2 Flow down there I've got. It's got a tray you just pull out, but you can see there's debris in here. So, and there's also a little float in there, so if it does get too full from not being cleaned, the base station should tell you that it's about ready to overflow. So there's little filters. These things actually get really dirty, especially when your house is new. When the robot is new to your house, it's actually going to do a really good job cleaning. You can see this filter is about half clogged. And it's very easy. Most of this parts are washable. Even like the Mova P10 Pro, I can take this to the sink and wash it. There's a procedure in the app that I just click clean washboard. The robot undocks. It puts hot water down here. I get a brush. I've got the world famous Just a Dad cleaning brush from Walmart for $5 on my website, justadadapproved.com. You take that brush, clean this, and then after about 30 seconds, it sucks the water up. So there's a procedure for robots that don't have the removable tray, but I love Roborock robot vacuum cleaners that have a tray, because this is just super easy. You grab the tray, go clean it, and you just throw it back. There's really not much bending over and cleaning. Okay, so now the fourth bonus one is dog waste or a cat throws up or something. Now, robot vacuum cleaners have come a long way. Now, if your dog is prone or cat is prone to having an accident on the floor, there's no robot vacuum cleaner that I can recommend that is 100% going to avoid it and not run it over. Now, are some better than others? Absolutely. There are some that have no obstacle avoidance on the front. So typically dog waste is low to the ground. It may be up a little bit. If it's low to the ground, the LiDAR here is not going to be able to sense it, so it's going to completely rely on the sensor in the front, not the bumper, because the bumper's not going to stop it. So that's where Some are better than others. Now, the Dreame X60 just came out. It's a $1,400 robot. It's got really good obstacle avoidance. Not perfect. In my testing, it definitely got a little too close to the dog poop once in a while. Mova V50, my 2025 pick of the year. Absolutely love it. It's not perfect, but boy, it's close. So I can't give the, what I would recommend is if like say your dog has accidents maybe in the same area, you may want to put a no-go zone there. That way, if they do end up going there, the robot's just going to avoid that area or only clean your house when you're kind of around. So that's that. I've seen the videos online when a robot runs over dog waste, it doesn't know it, and it just gets in the wheels. That one actually, I think, does ruin your robot. I don't think I've heard of people being able to clean them. And I don't know if you can send them into the manufacturer if they would even clean it. So be careful with dog waste. Now, again, there are some that have zero obstacle avoidance. It's typically your cheaper ones, but the Mova P10 Pro that I have here, it actually has almost as good an optical avoidance as the Mova V50. The Mova V50 is, right now, it's $750. That's a flagship robot. The Mova P10 Pro, it's on sale for $400. So probably the cheapest robot that has the best obstacle avoidance is the Mova P10 Pro. Roborock's got some good ones too, but that's usually towards their flagship ones. I like Roborock robot vacuum cleaners, but typically they're under their $500 range. Their sensors on the front are just not that good. Thankfully, Mova we have an upgraded Mova P10 Pro, but in Gen 2. That's because this is last year's model, 2025. It was my 2025 pick of the year. In 2026, in January, they just released the Mova P10 Pro Gen 2. And unfortunately, its obstacle avoidance is worse than the original one. But it cleans better, it mops better, and vacuums better, which I love. But if obstacle avoidance is something, you would probably want to get the original Mova P10 Pro. So I've got lots of videos coming out in this series. I just did a video on how to fix if your robot doesn't mop. We can prime the pumps with a syringe. If your dustbin is not emptying, I'm going to do a video on that here real soon, but right now I have a procedure written on my website. My website, justadadapproved.com, is going to be the go-to place for all your needs for robot vacuum cleaners. I've got a procedure to help. It's kind of divide your house up into smaller rooms, put it on a schedule where it's only cleaning those rooms one at a time. We're going after more auto-empty dustbins. There was one thing I kind of forgot to mention is make sure there's not a clog from where the dustbin hole is down to where it auto-empties. You can just get one of those little snakes for like a drain. Just sometimes once in a while and it's just a little tube that goes from here to there. And sometimes, and also make sure that it's a flap to the dustbin, there's not a clog. So, and cleaning that filter will also help. But again, my website right now, it's under construction. I do have a website. It's just very, very basic. I created it over a weekend. And so I want to get this is what I do for a living. I review robot vacuum cleaners for a living. I want to be the go-to source for this. I purchase these with my own money so that I can give you my honest opinion. There are lots of bad robots out there. And the ones that I recommend on my website, as you can see the symbol, Just a Dad Approved, they're going to get that final Just a Dad Approved sticker. You may see robots with the sticker on it. That's kind of showing that they're in my studio. I've tested them. They've undergone my testing, but they don't get the blue Just a Dad Approved sticker until they've been to my house for 3 months. I've done the cleaning. And here's the thing. If a robot that I recommend, it's going to have all the videos to help you. Unboxing, how to set it up. If you want to see how it actually cleans, I have review videos. If you want to see it compared to its next closest competitor. And then the main one that I like is how to clean it. These things, while they save us time, as you can tell from this video, there is some cleaning you have to do. I'm guilty as the next person. Sometimes I'll let these robots go. Sometimes I'll let them go 2 months before I touch them. Now, they will work, but you just lose a lot of suction. It's not cleaning as good. But I do have videos that show you exactly how to clean them and what parts to use, my tips and tricks. That's all on my website right now. But there's just going to be so much more information on there. So again, if you're thinking about, I want to buy an iRobot Roomba 405, it's really popular right now. Let's go see if Just a Dad approved it. Well, it's not approved by me. I have it. I've reviewed it. It didn't pass my testing. It was nothing but a hassle, and it's too expensive for what you're getting. It's the same price as the Mova P10 Pro, which is about twice as good a robot. So probably 3 times as good a robot. Anyway, I do appreciate, let me know what you think of this series. Let me know if there's any problems that you think you're having. I want to help people that are new to robot vacuum cleaners. I've learned so much, but I forget about how intimidating these things were when I first started. So again, justadadapproved.com. If you could, please like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.